My background was EFT and NLP, and I'm a homeopath. And I want to say thank you for Robert for teaching me faster EFT. One thing it did for me was it got me into school when everybody said, no, you won't ever get the job. There's a recession on, you're not going to get that job. So I carried on and I did my tapping and I wrote out my business plan, had it checked by a few people, and a few people said, no, you'll never get that job. You're a homeopath, you're an EFTer, how are you going to get into school? Don't be ridiculous. They've got their own counsellors. Their own counsellor stormed out last week because she didn't like the room. I think she could have done with some work, couldn't she? Faster EFT. How do you take a child who's throwing the furniture around and hates their teacher and is effing and blinding, literally tearing their hair out, throwing their bags around, and teach them the long version of EFT? You don't. You just say, look, I know this really cool way to calm down. So you start. And that's all you do. And they're children. They're not adults who've got lots of preconceived ideas about it. So they're actually all right about learning it. They just think it's another thing that they haven't learnt yet. So they tend to not have a whole load of preconceived ideas. So they go into it very, very quickly. I am now getting 8 referrals a week from school, in school. There are 17 children waiting to see me. We've done everything from rape right the way through to last week there was a child who'd had a knife stuck through his stomach, and I had to do the walking through technique, walk him through with himself to show himself that he survived and things like that. So I do some really, really serious issues with these children, and I know they've got balance because I use this thing called a stress box, and I actually make it visual. I draw a stress box down, and then when they tell me it's 80% full, I scribble in 80% of it and only leave a little bit, and it's very visual for them. And then when I ask them how it's gone down, I'm able to cross out some more and put 20% next to it and things like that. So the children like that part of it as well. My own grandson started playing up in school. He's a very, very nice child, so he's not going to play up badly, but he started becoming the class clown, and which is very disruptive. He's not going to be nasty about it, but he is going to be disruptive. And I took him home and I sat him down and I said, tell me a stress box. And I showed him the other kids, and he said, well, I've kind of got 20% for my friends. And I said, fine. And he said, and I've got 70% for my sisters, which is normal for a 13-year-old boy. And I've got 50% for you and Granddad because I don't want you to die. So I told him to please bury me. Don't keep me on the settee just because he loved me once. Don't keep something dead on the settee because you loved it once, please. And he had this massive fear of dying, of his mum dying. And this fear was his mum had just started driving lessons and he didn't think she was great. So he was going to school thinking his mum was going to wipe herself out and he was going to get told at the end of the day. And occasionally when the tannoy went off, he absolutely thought it was for him. Absolutely. And they're the disruptive behaviour. That's where it came from. And that's what I'm seeing a lot in school, is that a lot of the stress that they're under. And some teachers do need shooting. They are a red rag to a bull. They are a red rag to a bull. It's funny because they're letting me deal with the children, but they're not letting me near the teachers yet. But I have asked. I will get there. Thank you, Robert. Thank you.